to another episode of U.S. History Made Plain. I'm a high school history teacher trying to make history as fun and interesting for my students as possible. Let's talk about the Townshend Acts. The Townshend Acts were taxes on things like tea, glass, and paper. It also allowed the officials from Britain who were in the colony to search people's houses for smuggled goods without having to get like a specific warrant for a certain place. As long as they had this one license or written paper that says, I am an official from Britain, I can search anybody's house at any time just to see if they're smuggling some goods and not paying taxes. Colonists did not like that. The taxes on the tea, paper, and glass, that was actually for merchants. That was an indirect tax. The merchants had a problem with it, and they had some things to say about it. This is why Samuel Adams and his homeboy James Otis wrote a letter to all the legislators within the colonies telling them to petition Parliament to say, we are not going to follow your rules. We're going to do our own thing if y'all don't change these rules. British Parliament had a response. We'll shut your legislatures down. We'll bring only Britain over here to run everything if y'all don't do what we tell you to do. So what did the colonists do? They had another boycott. They stopped buying things from Britain again. Remember, that worked with the Stamp Act. So they're hoping it will work with the Townshend Act too. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of U.S. History Made Plain. I'm a high school history teacher trying to make history as fun and interesting for my students as possible. So let's talk about New York during this time. So New York was already being like defiant, and when the Quartering Act happened and the British soldiers came to people's houses in New York, they were like, you're not coming in here. We don't care. As a colony, we're not letting anybody stay in our house that we don't know because the king said y'all can stay here. So the king said, New York, y'all can't even meet together in public anymore. Y'all can't have private meetings because y'all defied me and didn't allow troops to stay in your house with the Quartering Act. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of History Made Plain. I'm a high school history teacher trying to make history as interesting and fun for my students as possible. So I want to clarify something really quickly. We talked about the Quartering Act, and I made it sound like colonists could go and just stay in people's houses if they knocked on their door, which eventually did happen, but not when I said the last time. So what actually happened, colonists were responsible for providing food and housing for British troops. So they didn't have to stay in their home necessarily, but they did have to raise the money and find a place for these troops to stay and find food and provide food for them. So that's important coming up. Not only did they boycott to have the Townshend Acts repealed, they also upped their smuggling because they were like, forget you, king. We don't care what's happening over there. Parliament, y'all get on our nerves. We're not okay with this. Because of that, the king eventually did repeal the Townshend Act, but they kept a small tax on tea just to let the colonists know we do what we want. We can put any tax on you guys if we want to. We're going to keep a tax on tea. This is why I think that in America, we don't really drink tea like that. They do over in England, and we used to here. But because of this tax, we don't really do it like that no more.